Alright guys, one more for the night. We've got Zayu on Franks up against Type on Spanish in their third game, the best of 5. Zayu leading 2-0 in the Ragnarok Age of Empires 2 Deathmatch tournament. 1 versus 1. Grand prize is... oh, what was the grand prize? A couple $100. Total prize is $350. So pretty nice minor tournament with some pretty big names playing in it. So, ooh, Zayu not going to be able to get that first villager. While Type, with the Hussar, going to be able to do a lot more damage to the vills, but quick garrison there by Zayu. Saving the villager in the end. So every little bit of villager build time helps in a format like Deathmatch, where you're just going to spam units into one another. So Paladin v Paladin. No one going to look at taking a mid-map engage. They're going straight for one another's eco at this point. No point at stopping. Because unless you force your opponent to stop and you've got a unit count advantage, you don't come out ahead if you deviate from trying to focus down eco. At the same time, you always want some units on defense, just to try and mop up these paladins who are going to clean up your villages in 2 hits. So, Zayu actually really getting a couple of villages here off Type already. So things going quite swimmingly for him and forcing a lot of build time loss otherwise even. Because even if they take damage and don't die, they're going to deviate from their initial build path. I think these Spanish villagers must be a little bit tankier than base villagers. Yeah, they actually are. So French villagers aren't quite as tanky as the Spanish villagers. So Zayu's Frank villagers will die in like 2 hits, but he's making this really work for him. He's actually sniped a couple of Type's villagers at the moment. So Type is on... I see your villager count, buddy. Well, Type's got 4 vills out at the moment that I can see. 5 that I can see. Zayu has got... how many are we up to here, big boy? 9 vills, and he's got a second town center finished as well. So he's got double TC, double vill production in the meanwhile. Up to 85 pop, 90 pop. So Type back down at about 65 at the moment. So Zayu really overcoming the Spanish advantage of those tankier vills with a bit of a nicer initial raid there, but he wants to be careful to not over-invest in his paladins nor lose too many to this castle fight, because it's going to deal good splash damage, and Type is transitioning onto the halbs. So these guys fight really cost effectively against paladins, but in saying that, Zayu going to be looking at getting out Trebs as soon as he can, and maybe even mixing in a handful of throwing axemen as well, just for a bit of backline damage there on the Spanish units, particularly those halbs. So with the Treb already out, things looking scary for Type, but he does have a few castles of his own. He has been getting conquistadors, but he is probably going to switch to getting some of his own Trebs. But plenty of siege workshops going down instead of multiple castles here. So Onagers in the mix, going to be able to clean up a few of these halbs, along with the throwing axemen. A little bit of danger close here, but I think Zayu's more interested in making sure he keeps the Trebs alive than worrying about a bit of health on the Paladins at this point, because if he can take out Type's castles early here, he can really lay on the smackdown, and he's already camping the easy gold, the easy relics, and Type has been pretty quick on early relic snatching, which, you know, if your opponent isn't aware in the way that Zayu has been in this game, you know, you can definitely make great use of that. But looks like Zayu wants to secure relics of his own behind this matchup being very, very gold intensive with the unit count that they've unit comps that they've got. You know, a mix of Conquistador, Paladin, and Halb versus Paladin, Halb, and Siege units, and some throwing axemen as well. Like, that's everything except the Halbs here costs a shitload of gold, and it's really the first resource most civs are going to run out of on Deathmatch. So if you can snatch those relics up early and deny your opponents and like get some free monk kills, then it's great. Although it looks like Tipe is going to return the favor, pick off the paladin and the monk for free here. Over on the top side, Zayu is going to be successful in pinching that relic, and he is starting to get some others from out on the map as well. Now, oh, that's a really nice hit there. Gonna get a couple of the conquistadors and get a couple more of them low. But bearing in mind, this isn't going to be good for these paladins. They are going to fall quite quickly, while the rest of them are going to be a bit delayed and not going to be able to take a fight under the castle. Another quick castle going up for Tipe. But there is bombard cannons in the mix as well. So the beauty of getting the workshops is they build faster than the castle, they're cheaper, and you got the option of being able to make both onagas and bombards out of them. I mean, onagas aren't the greatest against buildings. Like, they've got great damage against buildings, but they don't outrange castles. But they, oh, as you saw there, that's just what an impact. Tipe needs to get some form of melee cavalry onto these, well, some form of melee onto these onagas quickly, or get bombard cannons or something of his own to try and thin out that onaga count, because there's no way for his conquistadors to take an engagement right now. Zayu continuing to push forward, still getting another aggressive castle. This is going to mean he can keep reinforcing with trebs, with oh, he's overstayed, misclicked there with his trebs, bit of a fat fingering. He's lost one of them, taken one of them a little bit low, but he's now got them in range of a lot of high value buildings here. Conquistador raid going on down now. Tipe wants to get a bit of value out of this, but supremacy.
Yes.
Villagers versus Paladin. Not going so well for the single Paladin. Oh, and now, ooh, the Spanish villagers with their extra armor coming in to try and take down the army. I suppose Tipe knows if he can try and get as much value out of this raid as possible, this might be his only hope if he's pretty much broke at this point, because I think he is. He's still got a little bit of, oh, he's, yeah, really rough in terms of his food and gold. Plenty of wood, but just under this much pressure, it's going to be impossible for him to try and turn this one around, I think. Especially with this raiding army now, sort of, it needs to get either over here on all the gold gatherers, or over, sort of somewhere over here on these gold gatherers, but it's going to be really hard for him to get to either of those pockets. So he's getting what value he can out of the main base, but eventually the triple town center defense with all these paladins to be able to clean that up, and the villagers unable to take out the castle and all the army on their own, even with their OP extra armor. Spanish feels OP. Spanish feels OP. But not OP enough for our champion today in Zayu. Some more OP Spanish feels coming in to take a fight. But GG, well played. Zayu will progress from the winners bracket of this group